All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the May 11th, 2021 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. It is so nice to be all together in person for our fiscal court meeting. Feels much better, more natural. Although we've done Zoom meetings for so long, there may be some things we might forget, including turning our mics on and making sure, if we can, to stay socially distance out there if you don't have a mask. But I assure you, everybody up here is vaccinated. So I think we're within the letter of the law, and I'll begin as we always do with an invocation, so please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, please be with this board as we consider the business of the people of Henderson County. Please be with all those who are dealing with the pandemic and family emergencies and health problems that they are dealing with. Please watch over our first responders and frontline healthcare professionals as they continue to do their work. Please watch over our men and women in uniform, both here and overseas. We say all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Much better.
It sounds good.
Charlie was still behind.
Much more in unison. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Southern.
Here.
Magistrate Moran.
Here.
Magistrate Putman.
Here.
Magistrate McCollum.
Here.
Magistrate Berry.
Here.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have before you in your packet the minutes of the April 27th, 2021 fiscal court meeting, as well as the April 9th, 2021 special called meeting. After a period of review,
And the May 7th. special call.
and the May 7th special called meeting, I apologize. I believe we can approve these all at once. Period of review, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
I move we accept the minutes from the 2 meetings,
3 meetings.
3 meetings, sorry.
Second.
We have a motion.
I didn't either. I saw that. I had it on my phone, but I didn't have
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions, clarifications, corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. It's been a busy few weeks in between meetings. This is National Court Month, National Drug Court Month, and Christy Skaggs and her team members, representatives from Drug Court, are with us. Christy, if you mind bringing your folks up to the podium and introduce everyone. We're going to read a proclamation for National Drug Court Month, but I thought it'd be good for Christy Skaggs to give us an update on everything going on in our drug court.
I'm Christy Skaggs, the program supervisor. This is Jamie Berry. She's our regional supervisor. Rebecca Beard works with probation and parole. She's on our team. Greg Sutton is also on our team, and of course, Judge Wilson.
Any updates on anything going on with the program before we read the proclamation?
I'll let Jamie answer that for you.
We do have a graduation scheduled in May, and we're taking new referrals. We currently have 10 participants in the Henderson County program.
What's the capacity?
45.
45. Okay. Has COVID been a concern in the last year conducting drug court?
It's been a huge concern. We've had to do everything Skype, Zoom, just like everybody else. Treatment has been virtual. However, our referrals are down because of no court. Yes. But we've had very good success with our virtual platforms.
Good, good. I hope things are loosening up to the point where we can get back to normal and get more people in that program who need to be in it. So, any questions of our guests? We'll read the proclamation.
Whereas treatment courts have been restoring lives and families for more than 3 decades, and whereas there are now nearly 4,000 treatment courts nationwide, and whereas treatment courts have served 1.5 million individuals, and whereas they are now recognized as the most successful justice system intervention in our nation's history, and whereas they save an average of $6,000 for every individual they serve, And whereas treatment courts significantly improve substance abuse disorder treatment outcome, substantially reduce addiction and related crime, and do so at less expense than any other criminal justice strategy. And whereas treatment courts improve education, employment, housing, and financial stability, promote family reunification, reduce foster care placements, and increase the rate of addicted mothers delivering babies who are fully drug-free. And whereas treatment courts facilitate community-wide partnerships bringing together public safety and public health professionals, and whereas treatment courts demonstrate that when one person rises out of substance abuse and crime, we all rise. Now therefore, I, Brad Schneider, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the County Judge Executive of the County of Henderson County, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2021 as National Drug Court Month.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. And
Thank
good luck
you.
with your
Thank you.
Thank you all for what you do.
Thank you.
Next in your packets is a grant we're going to be applying for. Land and water conservation funds that we're going to be using to help build, I believe, restrooms at Sandy Lee Watkins Park. And Bill, if you want to come to the podium and just talk a little bit more about this, if you want. Oh, we got to go into, well, yeah, we'll go into public hearing. So make a motion to go into public hearing, please.
So moved.
I have a motion from Manager Button, second from Manager McCollum. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we're now in public hearing, so. Bill?
Do you swear
Oh,
or
my God.
affirm the testimony you're about to
I
give
haven't done
is
this
true
in a
and
while.
correct to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Would you state your name, please?
William A. Hubiak,
What is your occupation?
Henderson County Engineer. Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Nice to see you all in person instead of in Zoom. So, yeah, we're applying for the Land and Water Grant for the development of comfort stations / restrooms at the Sandy Lee Watkins Park. This park has been under development since we obtained the 535 acres back in 2009. It's been a slow process of development, but very methodical. At the time when we received the property, there was $1 million worth of coal severance money that was earmarked for the development of the park. During the processing time of the development of that, only $135,000 of that money was used for the development of the park, and the rest was returned back to the coal severance coffers to be helped utilized on other infrastructure projects for the Commonwealth. So it has been funded solely by the fiscal court in its development since that time, which we greatly appreciate. But also, we have been applying for grants. We're successful in getting our third walking trail grant through Federal Highways and the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. And we have funded the infrastructure of the water line system and also the electric to the facilities at the park now. So with that, we have now progressed to the point where we have really outgrown the porta potty facilities that we have at the park. It is time for us to go to permanent comfort / restroom stations that are ADA compliant. As you all well know, porta potties are not. So this would be something that is much needed at the park. It will help the growth of the park and further utilization of the park's facilities out there. So we are applying for the grant to put in 2 different stations within the park system. One is going to be located up there by the events building up on top of the hill. These stations will be ADA compliant. They will have a hard surface parking area and hard surface sidewalk access up to the facilities. We want to construct them of all low or no maintenance type materials, as we always try to construct anything that we have in the parks to keep our maintenance an employee need down because of that. So, of course, those things do not come by cheap. The facilities that we have in place permanently at the fairgrounds are all stainless steel structures inside there for the commodes, the urinals, the sinks, and things that are inside there. Stainless steel is not cheap, but we have found out it's also the best way to keep stuff clean, too. Sanitizing a stainless steel type facilities is a lot easier than porcelain or anything else. And so this is why we're looking for the matching grant. The grant is up to $250,000, and we are asking for the total of $250,000, which will have to be matched either in kind or with materials of $250,000 also. We plan on doing the majority of all that can work, site work preparation and everything that can be done with force account people, whether it's road department, parks department. We also utilize the recycle people on days. So we will try to match as much of the $250,000 as we can with that. Some of it will be matched in kind with preparation materials such as the crushed concrete stockpile that we have out there. We will be using road department equipment, which is eligible for a match, and is also under the FEMA rates like we have done in the past. But to become ADA compliant with the parks facilities is a must. And I believe that, you know, with us coming to the loop of the 5K with the historic bridge and, you know, that we just received, this will really be a complement to the park and the further growth of this area.
Bill, do you know when you'll find out if you receive the grant, you know what the timeline is?
Timeline, I think the grant has to be done within 24 months.
Well, as far as notification,
Yeah, yeah.
this year it was off schedule, but it should be October or November
To turn in the application or to get a decision?
to get a decision.
Yeah.
Okay. And with that, do you anticipate, if we get the grant, breaking ground this calendar year or into next calendar year?
I expect to break ground on this calendar year on the site up by the events center. And we will then move to the second site afterwards. We want to complete one, not do them simultaneously. But, you know, like I said, because when we're out there, we can get one site ready. Some of the work will have to be done by contractors, licensed plumbers, licensed electricians, things of this nature. So, I mean, there are certain things that we're not going to be able to do. Of course, the procurement of all the materials will be done, as we always try to do, purchased through the fiscal court, so there's no markup and no sales tax associated with that to keep all the costs and materials down as much as possible.
Do you think the project will be done during the 21-22 fiscal year, or will it extend beyond next fiscal year, you think?
I don't see. I don't think it. I think it's going to probably go beyond. Of course, everything is weather dependent. I think that it's very very doable for us to complete the first site up on the hill by the events center within this next upcoming budget without any problem. But the second one, we're working with the health department. We have some issues there of perk tests that have to be completed and stuff like that. Depending on how those tests come out, it might extend that beyond, you know, those areas. But I just don't have that information right now. If it comes out that it perks well, then, you know, we might be able to expedite the second site.
And even though there are two sites, this is all one project as considered in this application, right? And the reason I'm asking all this is, you know, we haven't budgeted for this for next fiscal year, but that doesn't mean we can't do it. And as you said, you're going to match a lot of the required 50% match with in-kind services, so we'll just have to wait and see at the end what that adds up to and then figure out
Right.
what subsidy we might
I'm trying to, I think that this project can be done within our budget constraints, especially with them matching the 250 if we get that. Basically, I'm hoping that the material costs do not go up as much as they are going now, continuing to go up. Apparently, there's a problem with resin right now, and PVC piping and/or underground conduit is going through the roof right now. It's just unbelievable. But you know, even with that, I think we've got it in our budget constraints of the parks, utilizing our people. We have a backhoe, and we also have a track hoe. We have utilized that in laying all the 6-inch water line pipe throughout the park and all the electrical conduit that's been in the park. So we have a lot of the tools that we can do the in-kind match with, and that's what I'm hoping to be able to do, is max that out where we have very little actual dollar cost to put in there. I'm not asking for anything additional to be added into the parks budget or the road department or anything else like that. I think we can do it with what we have.
If I'm not mistaken, you can't start it until you get the grant. If you do, then you can't, anything that you do.
Can't utilize any of that
Yeah. So that,
until that point.
and so you're going to have 2 field beds.
Yes.
Will this help you at any at all with the, you know, I know there was a talk about having some campsites or where you could pull trailers.
Yes.
Is this going to
Yes.
help with that?
Site 2 will be
Oh,
part of that.
I mean,
Yes.
I think the demand for those right now is just out the roof too. I mean, if we had that available, it would be
Yeah.
well used, I think.
Any other questions of Bill? Well, I guess we will come out of public hearing. Sorry, I haven't done it in a while. Just hadn't done this in a while. A call for any other public comments. Introduce yourself, and Mr. Gold will swear you in.
Teresa Childers.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
He didn't even tell me I was going to be up here.
And Teresa's our Parks Director. You know them, Teresa.
Do you have any questions, like, with anything?
One thing I was going to ask is, and Master McCullough mentioned it, there is eventual plans for an RV park, which could be quite popular and eventually create revenue
Yes.
for the park, which would help support activities in the park. And as Bill said, this would support that. It's going to be in the same general area.
It's going to be in the same area that we
Right.
want the RV park.
Right now, remind me, we allow rustic, as they say, camping, which means no facilities. We do allow that in the park.
Yes.
Okay.
Mainly Boy Scouts, though.
Boy Scouts, yeah.
Mhm.
Who also need restrooms if they can help it, but right now they don't have that available. So you anticipate this will increase those kind of uses, perhaps
Yes,
in our
and
park.
definitely for the community building as well, because everybody always asks when they call to reserve it, does it have restrooms? And right
Yeah.
now, we just have to say the porta potty,
Which is not the most attractive
Right.
look, but
especially for weddings. We have a lot of weddings scheduled.
yeah. Using a porta potty in a tuxedo is not a it's a
Or
trick.
a wedding dress.
Yeah.
Now, this will be outside of the building, though, correct?
Yes, right across from it.
Okay.
And that's good because there are other activities right in that general area, the RC
Right.
Yeah, the
runways
lanes.
there. And I think some playgrounds up there too.
Yes.
And it's not too far from our drone park and
Right.
one of the fishing lakes. So, yeah. Any other questions of Teresa?
How many, do you know how many RV sites are going to be?
Between 65 and 75. 75 is the max that we can have for the location that we
Yeah.
are doing, and the restrooms.
It's a pretty hot thing right now. Somebody just told me yesterday that they had called everywhere and can't find a
Right,
spot
yeah.
to park an RV anywhere. It's
Especially
really-
with the state park here still not open.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, I'd love for you to come back and kind of map out that project, with drawings and potential costs, because we're going to have to get some infrastructure in there to do that. And it'd
Yeah,
be good
we've
to
been
see.
working on it.
Yeah, be great.
Now, is that where we're waiting on the perk test? Is where we're,
Yes, we're waiting for the health department to come out and do it. She had to get assistance with other inspectors because she's not ever done something like that before, as far as an RV park goes and the facilities.
because it's going to require a
A
larger
dump
scale.
station and
Right.
everything.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any other questions of Teresa? Thank you, and I'll call for anybody else who'd like to make public comment. And I'll ask one more time, anybody else like to make a public comment? Thank you. Okay, can I now make a motion to go out of public?
So
hearing?
move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we'll read the resolution.
Whereas the County of Henderson proposes to develop recreational resources to provide for the health and well-being of the general public, and whereas the County of Henderson intends to make application to the Department for Local Government for assistance under the Land and Water Conservation Fund Act of 1965, and whereas Land and Water Conservation Fund is limited to funding a maximum of 50% of the proposed project costs estimated at $500,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the County of Henderson hold in reserve 50% of the proposed project costs for the purpose of matching the Land and Water Conservation Fund assistance. And be it further resolved that in the event a grant is awarded, the County of Henderson understands that it will assign assurances to comply with all applicable federal and state laws, rules and regulations, especially Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and Section 504 of the 1973 Rehabilitation Act.
Need a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks and good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, at our workshop, we discussed Jailer Brady's need to do everything she can to retain deputy jailers and frontline staff at the jail, and if Jailer Brady would join us at the podium here. She submitted some written documents, but I'd love for her to just summarize in your own words what you'd like us to do today, Jailer Brady.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The paperwork that you have shows the current rate of pay and a pay rate increase that I would like to put into effect as soon as possible. It's based on longevity, it's based on attendance, and the people that have worked throughout the pandemic. The overhead staff that are assigned to supervisors' positions and office positions that have been working the floor, we've all realized exactly how out of shape we are. But everyone is in agreement that we need to focus right now on hiring staff that will stay. If we don't have people that can learn the positions and learn the daily operations of the jail, there's no future. And we need to get people in there that want to stay and they're looking for a career.
So right now, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. It was me.
No.
Go ahead if you were going to
No.
speak. So we are bumping up new deputy jailer pay from up to $15 to start, right? From 14, I believe?
It was 14, and then the people that have passed their probationary period, I went ahead and counted my chickens before they hatched. I went ahead and figured them in for the pay raise, if they're still within their probationary period, just so we would have enough money in the line items.
So there's some that are going to be come out of the probationary period within the next month and a half here? Okay. And you take that into account? And others, you are proposing pay raises based on longevity and their
Correct.
job. And those average about $1 an hour?
Well, the starting pay right now is 14, and we're bumping everyone up to 16. That's what it would go to. So it would be a total of right around $2 an hour.
That's after their probationary.
After the-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amy, I know you mentioned it. How many are you short right now? 30? Was it 30?
More
42.
42.
And we've got one out on FMLA and 2 more getting ready to go out on FMLA.
And I think everybody is supportive of this measure, considering the situation. And we will be discussing the second half of your proposal, which is 4% pay raises for everybody at the jail. Heading into next fiscal year, we'll be discussing that when we vote on the budget, have first reading of the budget. We're going to be reconfiguring your proposed budget based on that. So that's for next time. But and I know that you're eager to pull out all the stops to do everything you can besides just pay to help keep people and support them and train them and hopefully, have their back as they're going through a very tough time and tough job.
People are tired.
Yeah.
They're, knock on wood, they're retesting again today, so
Yeah.
hope our numbers go down.
I'd make a motion that we raise the starting pay to $15, and after they complete probation, that the floor be 16.
And are there any other, besides those changes, you have other proposed changes in there too, right, for other personnel? Did I see that correctly? Besides just starting pay? For new deputies?
That's what I was going to say. Since there's not a resolution, we need to be specific about exactly what's being approved. Magistrate McCollum's motion is for the floor deputies, $15 an hour and 16 after probation.
Right. Those that have already, the floor deputies that are already out of probation, they should go up to 16 as well, I think. I mean, you don't want to put somebody new making more money than the people that are.
Yeah, it wouldn't be,
No, that's not fair.
that wouldn't work.
Does,
The people that are there now, would that include the adjustments for the pay raises that?
I don't know anything about any other pay raises outside.
Well, they're the ones that are in there. The ones that have already been there, the deputies that are already working and they already make more than that, but they still work the shift. That's what's in the rate of pay there.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, let me add this, just to see if I can get it clear.
Yes, sir.
What's in this proposal is what we're approving today. That's what you're asking.
That's what I was asking,
And
yes,
that
sir.
included the 4%?
No, it's just the rate of,
Okay, all right,
just the rate of pay.
okay.
Like the person in the top line item, it has her current rate of pay. It would be with the pay rate increase. And then the next one is, if approved, July 1.
So that, just to clarify, that first column, you said is the current rate of pay or the proposed new rate of pay?
No, that is their current.
Are you sure in the one we have?
It was,
We have a different document.
Yeah, that's not.
This is what Lori said.
correct.
this morning.
Yeah, that would have been a little too late. Can I see that? Yeah.
Printed asked for the, to add their current rate of pay in. That's the only thing.
Oh, we don't have that.
Table this for a minute, and make copies.
Would you like to do that? She has a document here with current rate of pay, and then it will show the increase, the dollar increase for what we're voting on today in the second line.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't realize that we were going into the other people. I thought we were just talking about, at the budget meeting, that was what I thought we discussed was going to be the new hires and that, so I didn't
That's what
even.
I thought.
It would be, well, the people that are already on the shift, if we don't change the rate of pay, then your new hires are gonna make more money than
Well, that's why I wanted to make sure everybody was at least making
Right,
the
we're talking
16.
about the entrance pay.
You
Not
want to
the-
go ahead
not
and
the
approve that
officers.
range? See if you can do that. then
When
you
he
don't
comes
have to
back
do
with that, I
all
think you'll be
specific.
able to see
That'll
exactly what.
See how much the difference is.
If we approve that range, we don't have to bother with all
Do you have the number of people in those positions, Steve? Don't you have to have the number of people in each one of those positions too?
There's 42.
For the budget, yes, absolutely.
For next year's budget.
There's 42 on here, 43.
So, I mean, this would be departing from the idea that-
Amy, so on this sheet, all the vacants or, well, on here it'd be 14. You're wanting to take all the vacants to 15, correct?
Well, after their probation, it would be 16.
Right.
I went ahead and
Yeah,
bumped it up. Just to
but
make sure.
everybody above the vacants is making more than that
That would be their pay rate with the increase.
with the increase.
Yes, and then
Okay,
that would be 4% in July.
okay. So we don't, right now on this paper, we don't know how much they're making now.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
She's a booking officer.
okay.
Transport officers, they have a pay increase. It's the people that. Or she wanted a pay increase right now.
Amy, I tell you what we're
Just
going to
the
have you
lower
do.
salaries, is that what it
I
is?
tell you what we're going to have you do is when Kurt comes back with current rate of pay, we'll just have you go up and go over each person,
Okay.
and he'll be back in a second.
Okay, thank you.
I tell you what, while we're doing that, let's take care of another bit of business. You have in your packets the sheriff's report. Ed, yet Sheriff Brady, anything to add
I didn't get that either.
on the sheriff's?
It was nothing in my, no, I didn't get it. I looked last night and I didn't look this morning, but,
Came the 6th.
huh?
It's the 6th.
The 6th? Okay. I didn't find it.
Everybody else have the sheriff's report?
I didn't find it.
Everything was emailed out to everybody, so, last week.
It was
I looked,
May 6th at about 3 p.m.
Include the sheriff's report. This is just a normal monthly sheriff's report.
Thank you, sir.
what day was the 6th?
Thursday.
Last Thursday. All the documents emailed out.
That was on the 6th. Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. Evidently I missed it.
I thought I read it.
If you found it, I'll entertain a motion to approve the sheriff's report.
I move to approve. Second.
Motion and second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, Amy, if you want to come back up. What we need you to do is just go down the list that we have
I thought I read it.
and just read all the names and pay rate changes from this year to next year, from this year to this, what we're about to do. Does that make sense?
So,
Yeah, just go over them real quick.
I see what she's saying, because
The other thing,
that wouldn't be fair to those that, you're right.
Starting with Maisha Angevine.
Deputy Angevine, Deputy Bays, Deputy Bonham,
Oh, you see the rates of pay, everybody have that in front of them?
read the current rate and
Deputy Bowman,
And this one.
Deputy Boyd.
Just,
Deputy,
not just the names.
Yeah.
you want the rates
Yeah.
Yes.
current and,
Yes, since
Yeah.
there's not a resolution
okay,
with all this on there, and that this form has the, with the 4% in July, if this document is put into the minutes, then that presumes, or it might lead some ambiguity as to the approval of the 4% in July. So if the fiscal court is going to be approving these pay raises, it needs to be specific in the minutes, and that can be done either by
I can't do
a
this.
document or by,
I don't have time to study numbers and math.
by reading it. So, I mean, that's,
Can we just submit this document?
well, that, as long as it's very clear in the minutes that the 4% in July is not.
Yeah. Well, I will
being
make that
approved.
clear.
Yeah.
What we're
That
considering.
needs to be blacked out in what's attached to the
Okay,
minutes.
I want to withdraw my motion if that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
This is more, I don't have time to do the calculations today. I don't have to see what it cost us. I can't vote on all these other pay raises because we were not, I didn't have it. I mean, it's being dumped on me here. I'm
Yeah.
forgiving them the 15 and the 16. That's what we talked about. But this is numbers increasing from 15 to 1728, from 1750 to 1923. This is doing everybody. I mean, this is going across the board. And I can't, we need to do that in the budget meeting, that is my opinion. But, so I withdraw my motion. If somebody else wants to do something different, that's fine.
Jailer Brady, would it be acceptable to approve the raising the floor for new deputies from 14 to 15 and then 16 after a probationary period, as Mr. McCollum first suggested, and then go over at the next meeting after the magistrates have a chance to review these other raises and do it then, or consider it then? Because we are getting this information pretty late in the game.
There's a problem there though, because what it's gonna do is bring the new hires into,
Exactly.
up to the same money that the people that have been there are making. And it's not gonna be fair to these people that are making the $15 now. It's getting complicated, I guess.
Yeah, I get it. We didn't get all the information we needed.
But the
until
ones
very late
making
in the game.
1571 would go to 16. I mean, nobody would be left behind. mean-
But you said new hires, and these are not new.
No,
hires.
I mean, the floor for $16 for everybody,
Okay,
once they've
that's
completed
not what
their,
you said,
their,
yeah.
their,
Okay. That
yeah, the
clears
floor
it up.
would be 16 after probation for everybody. That's what I thought I was trying to say.
Jailer, what do you think about taking care of that now, if the magistrates find it acceptable, and then doubling back on these other raises, immediate raises next meeting, after we had a chance to digest it a little bit?
I have a question. The budget proposal that was submitted originally, it had the current rate of pay, and then it had the pay adjustments on there. Did you all receive a copy of that before the budget workshop? That had the current rate of pay? Because I know the jail magistrates did, because I emailed that to them.
We had it.
The ones with the three suggestions, pension, shift 16, I forget the name of the other one.
Yes, and it had the current
Yeah.
rates of pay on
The
there.
shift 16 was anticipated in the budget that we talked about for
Yes.
next year,
Which is this one.
for next year.
Now, we have lost some people since that was submitted,
Yeah.
and we've hired some people, so that's the difference.
And I understand what you're saying. Are you saying that this is identical to shift 16, except that the dollar raises would be given this right way, and then the 4% would be given at the change of the fiscal year?
We had some people like, person that's in number 14. She had actually turned in a resignation and rescinded it, and that was during the time frame of the budget preparation. So I had taken her off, but she has since rescinded her resignation and agreed to stay. So she was added back in. The person that was in number 25, they left to deliver furniture, drive a furniture delivery truck.
Let me just go back to the first page, and correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, but it says, the last paragraph, the column with 4% July would be the pay rate with a 4% increase effective July 1 for everyone. Note, there may be enough money in the deputy matron's administration, office, SAP, and part-time line items to give the total pay increase now. So,
You didn't mean including the 4% in that little sentence,
I
did you?
just put it out there that there may be enough in there since our personnel and staffing have been so low that you may be able to include it all. Rather than do the paperwork now, then do the paperwork again.
Eliminates doing it twice, I think is what you referred to. And Charlie, we were talking about the entry-level people, bringing them up
Yeah,
now.
Right.
And this summary says the proposed budget will increase our deputy jailer starting pay to $15 an hour. And the new deputy jailer successfully completes their 6 months, pay rate will increase to $16 an hour. That summary doesn't mention these other raises. And I think we're just now seeing these.
It took us, how many pay raises, I mean, I think Kurt was still there then, to fix the salaries where they were screwed up. Because people, when I hired in, it was $7 an hour starting pay. It went to $8.50. I'd worked there 5 years, and I got my pay bumped up to $8.50. And, I mean, it's just, it got backwards. We fixed that, and that's, we need to focus on the people that are going to be the future.
Yeah. So I'll ask again, if you want to go ahead and have a vote on increasing the floor to 15 with $16 available after 6 months probationary period. I think everybody feels comfortable about doing that now. And then the other raises we can, after they've had a chance to look them over and consider them within our current budget, I think we can vote on those perhaps next time if everybody's comfortable with that, or have a chance to ask questions after they receive this new information. Is that acceptable?
And that would make sure that the people who currently make less than would include them too, right?
Yeah.
Would they go to $16 an hour
If they've been there 6 months.
if they've worked there 2 years?
Yes,
Yes.
that would be the floor.
Yeah.
Nobody'd make less than 16.
But someone that's worked there 2 years is going to make the same thing as someone just hiring in.
Right now.
For right now.
That's going to cause a bigger issue than this, so.
I don't know. I mean, to go back and do all these readjustments and need the total number, and, I mean, long-term effects, I think we've got to look at the retirement issue again. Hate to do it, but.
The retirement figures are in there.
No.
How about this? I want to make a suggestion. This conversation first came up as we were talking about the future budget, 21-22 budget. And this was the proposal, this shift 16 is basically what this is for the 21-22 budget. What if we wait until July 1 and approve this whole plan as you originally presented it at our workshop for the 21-22 budget? With these raises and the new floor, that would make it simple, and it would, it was the budget that you submitted at the workshop.
It was. This budget, compared to the budget, the current budget, is an increase of $490,951.47. Of that, it's $100,000, $737.24 increase in retirement, and a $700,000 increase in medical. Personnel, deputies and matrons, it's only increasing that $20,916.13. We've given every way that we can possibly give. And we're doing everything we can. But when you have a total of 4 people on a shift, there's an issue.
I'm not saying there's not an
4.
issue, and that's what I was thinking we were trying to help you with by getting the lower raises up so we could hire some people. That's what we talked about at the budget meeting. And what you got to look at is not just for this year.
I know.
But it's the next year and the year after the year.
That's what I said.
Well, in 2028, Our retirement obligation is 59.7% of whatever the salaries are. If you multiply that by, and then our long-term budget plan was for a 1% raise per year, and this is going to be much more than 4%, much more than, I don't know, we've got one department's 9.17, one department's 7%. I've done the calculations on that. Our retirement on the on the 4% is going to go, it's going to more than double our retirement obligation and add another close to $5 million that we're going to have to start paying. Our income is not going up that fast. You may be able to handle it if things get back to normal in your department, but we can't. The fiscal court can't handle it for the sheriff and the clerk and road department, everybody. We really need to look at our budgets. I mean, it is astronomical what this long-term and this compounding effect that the state has put us in. I mean, it's not.
If we don't get people hired, we can't take another federal contract, which I just seen the paperwork.
I agree. And that's,
yesterday.
But that's not what you told me we were going to do today. We were going to vote on this, and then we were going to look back at your budget and do 4%. And I was.
And it was sent to you. I sent it the other night, 3 o'clock in the morning, I think, is what it was. I was still at the jail.
One thing I would suggest, and I've suggested this on prior occasions, is to save the jailer having to go through, some of this discussion over individual raises sometimes would be to approve ranges for particular positions. And like Magistrate McCollum said, that number of positions, and then provide a range wherein she would have that discretion to be able to deal with those particular points of inequity where there's, somebody been there 4 or 5 years, and looking at all those things and giving her the discretion to do that. That's one thing that the fiscal court can do. The fiscal court can, approve every individual, pay raise and everything, but that does get somewhat tedious. But just wanted to throw that idea out there of approving ranges again.
But is that what this is?
It sort of is, but it doesn't have all the total number of position, people in each one position and that kind of information.
It has what is required as far as the total number of people approved, and then what the pay range is for the positions.
So a deputy, way I'm reading this, a deputy can be from $15 to $25 an hour.
Depending on how long they've been there. Some people, that's all they ever want to be is a deputy.
And that's fine. I mean,
It is.
That's, but, so that kind of addresses what you're saying, right, Steve?
Well, it's got to have the.
Well, that's
actual
the,
numbers and
so
everything, how many's in each
We just-
classification.
we're presented with two different things. One was a list of specific pay increases, and then another was potential ranges. And it is the fiscal court's pleasure which of those they want to pursue. But, there would, and I'm sure Jailer Brady right now could tell us, the number of slots for each of those. Chief deputy, I believe there's 2, chief of admin, chief of operations, majors, captains, lieutenant sergeants, officers, and deputies. I'm sure she has those she could provide for us right now. And I know those are in some of the other documents she gave us where they're listed by individual, but it's really whichever path the fiscal court wants to go down.
I think what we should do is approve the new pay rate for new hires, deputy jailers that she suggested here, and consider the raises for the other positions when we vote on the budget. And we bring those numbers back to you. And it's only a month and a half away that those would change. And that would also include the 4% that you're proposing for next year as well. And I think we can get too bogged down in this and we won't be able to do anything for the people you need, especially new hires. I want to take care of that as quickly as possible so you can get more people in the door, hopefully. I think because we got this information on the other raises late here, I think it just makes it harder to consider. So I would propose that we work towards getting those set for the new budget, get those in place when we vote, and approve a range while we're doing it, and we'll be ready for the new fiscal year. And those folks that you want to have a raise will have a raise. It'll just take a month and a half to get it done. Yeah. Anybody have any thoughts about that proposal? It's basically, what Manager McCollum proposed at first, and then we'll be able to consider all these other raises when we get the final budget numbers for Amy as we consider the new budget. Anybody have a problem with that?
Do we need to vote on the range, though? Not,
I think we'll need to vote on these ranges with the new budget.
okay.
If you do a 4% raise and you've already changed the pay rate,
Yeah, because this proposal included the 4%, right?
in the one that said 4%, yes.
And what you're saying, Judge, is we're just going to do the 16, the 15.
The shift 16
Yeah.
it gave two things. It included raising the floor, as I understand it, Amy, correct me
15.
here. It included raising the floor to 15 with $16 after probationary period. There were other raises in there contemplated for people who had served some time in the jail, is that correct?
Yeah.
And then 4% on top of that.
It's the people who have worked throughout this
Yeah.
pandemic. You've got people working 11 days straight, 12-hour shifts.
To make sure that they were rewarded too. So that was what shift 16, that was the jail budget that was handed to us at the workshop.
And that basically is what this reflects, exactly what was.
The only thing we'd be doing early is kicking in the raises for
New
new
hires.
hires. And again, we're only a month and a half away from the new year.
I think that's going to cause some problems, so.
What if we did this, instead of doing 4%, take an average of the pay, give a flat raise? That way it won't affect if they get the raise now or not. Everybody will get 60 cents, whatever you choose to make that raise. Instead of giving a percentage of 4%, just give it a flat raise. That way it won't affect the person at 15 that's going to bump up to 17.28. They're going to get the same money either way.
So you're just saying, example,
Yes,
give everybody $1.
yes.
I think
Instead
that
of
was
instead
one
of the
that was in there.
percentage.
That was one of them that was in the proposal submitted.
We offered the most expensive one, figuring that, we
Full
can always back
complement of
down from
employees.
there.
Right,
Yeah.
but the buck would be basically the 4% of the top pay. So it would actually help the lower pay people
Catch up.
catch up.
You up to the jailer, of course.
Just,
Yeah.
well, I know what she was thinking. If we do all this in July, the people that she's bumping up is not going to get the true 4%. That's what you were kind of saying. If we don't do it now, they're not going to get that 4%.
If you don't adjust other people's pays,
Right.
and you go ahead and adjust these and then give them the 4%.
I think what we got to remember here is if we do the initial bump up for new hires, you can come back with whatever else you want to come back with for the new fiscal year, and we just have to consider it and vote on it.
True.
Whatever you want to do.
Because there's a range, right? You have the range then.
She could make it 4%, she could make it a flat, she could bring anything back to us.
Right.
And the unusual thing about the jail is that you cover your own expenses, whatever you budget, it's up for you to cover. So we could do that, Jailer Brady. Again, approve the entry-level salaries now, those increases, and then you come back to us before we have first reading of the budget so we can consider it. We can do the same meeting if everybody approves, especially if we get it in advance for everybody to consider. We can take care of that, and we'll have the new salary structure for the new year. Am I making sense?
So the person in number 31 who's been at the jail for quite a while, will go up to $16 an hour.
No. You can pay them what you want in the new fiscal year. Just bring us the list. You can
But
give the
now,
raises you want.
this person will go to $16 an hour,
Now.
For now.
which is
Now.
the
For the
exact
next-
same thing that number 2, who was just hired.
For the next month and a half. And then you can change it.
But then number 2, have they met their 60 days?
No, but I can find one on there that.
That has, well,
I think the key here is that you're going to be able to give the raises you want to give for the new fiscal year, provided we all, agree. But for right now, for this meeting right now and for the next month and a half, I think the best we can agree on is to give the new employees the raise you suggest, the entry level. And I think we all agree that anybody in here who is making less than 15 or 16 get bumped up to 16 if they've been there for 6 months. Is that correct, Manager McCollum? Is that what you proposed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Does anybody have?
Is that going to cause you a lot of problems? Amy, what do you think about that?
Yep.
And you can't make everybody happy, I know that, but if you don't want to make everybody angry either.
The ones that walk out the door. I know the sheriff's department is the backup for the jail. So if they're already short, I'm not really sure what's going to happen.
I mean, can you not explain that in a month and a half, everybody's going to be able to get raises based on what you decide?
You all come out and explain it to them. I have talked until I'm blue in the face.
Well,
So,
I think the late date at which we got some of this information makes it harder. It makes it tougher to do it right
the
now.
information was sent out with the different, shake your head. The information was sent out with the different choices. It had everyone's rate of pay and it had what was proposed. The information that you all received as far as the proposal in the wee hours of the morning the other day was what we had set and went through every file, figuring out based on attendance, based on people that had worked throughout the pandemic that had not called in, or very few call-ins, and they didn't buck up when assigned the overtime. And if you look at the time that it was sent, I was still there.
So if I went out to the jail and explained at the new fiscal year, these raises are very much likely going to be approved if you have been with the jail a while, and showing them all these numbers if you want to, you think that the month and a half will make that big a difference, especially if they're, projected to make these sort of pay increases? You think you'll still lose people?
Mhm. I do.
So the difference is a month and a half on whether they'll stay or not?
I mean, it's up to you. So,
I don't know, does anybody have a thought about what you're willing to do?
So you think in 6 weeks if they would be mad enough to just leave? Not
Even though they're-
their rate? No, I mean, if they,
we had,
I know,
had a girl show up for 2 nights. They had to shower someone that has a lot of mental problems that refuses to shower, and we never saw her again. She went out for a break.
just got in the wrong business, but that is a tough business, believe me. Some people just cannot do that.
I think our goal, as I understood it again, was to try to help raise the starting pay so we could get more people on board and try to help that frontline deputy situation now, and then consider the rest at the turn of the fiscal year, which is just 6 weeks away. So can we not do that? Because I think we all agree we can do that now. I don't know that anybody else is comfortable with approving the rest at this second, at this meeting. I'm trying to help. Here. I mean, I'd like to go ahead and approve that now. And if you need me to come out to the jail and explain it, I'll be happy to. I'll meet with whoever I can. And try to help send the message that more raises are on the way in 6 weeks to try to help the situation. I'm committing that to you. I want to help. This is a lot to, all these raises are a lot to try to approve right now. I think the simple thing to do is what the motion that was made. Is that okay for now if I go help you to explain? I think we can do it. Anyone want to make a motion?
I move that we, I need to state this properly, that we approve the $15 an hour plus after the 6 months probation, there would be 16. And that would also include the new hires as well as the people that were not at that level.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions?
Okay, so I need you to restate your
Clear as
motion
mud.
here, to make it clear.
Whatever. You need this,
So,
I believe I heard the motion as approve the creation of a floor of $15 an hour for starting pay, and that those who pass probationary period be raised to $16 an hour, and any current employees who are making under $16 an hour be raised to $16 an hour.
How soon does the judge need to come out and explain that?
Soon.
I can do it. And you can bring this very same list back to us for the next fiscal court meeting, because we're probably going to be having first reading of the budget, tie up a couple loose ends, which were all with the jail budget, and then have first reading of the budget. So if you bring these same raises back, especially if they're not going to change for the existing employees, the other employees, everybody has that information now and can review it, and I think we'll be ready to go. If you want to do anything different, including taking into consideration Magistrate Southard's suggestion of a flat dollar amount as opposed to percentage, it's up to you. But whatever you bring back, especially if it's exactly like this for the next fiscal court meeting, I think we'll be able to move. Does that make sense?
this also needs to be specified as to the starting date, because we are in the middle of the pay period right now. So is this going to be retroactive to last weekend, or is it going to be effective the very next pay period?
I'd like to offer a chance for Master Miranda to amend her motion to make it retroactive.
I will amend my second too.
To go back to May, the beginning of
The
Pay
beginning of the
period.
present pay period.
pay period.
And I think a key to this too, to keeping our people and to helping them understand that they are in line for a raise, is how you couched what happened today to your team. We want to get this done. It was complicated. We're trying to do it the right way. And because we're so close to the beginning of the new fiscal year, and we thought that, the path of least resistance here and the most effective way is to just set it up for the next fiscal year to begin July 1 with these other raises. So please help me with that, and I will come out and talk to whoever you want me to talk to. I'd be happy to. And I hope members of the jail committee might come with me to help explain it.
Okay.
Judge, I call for the question.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. We'll keep working on it. It'll be okay.
You're welcome. I just want to point out that it was sent out on April the 28th.
Judge, after hearing this and this bit of confusion, I'm just asking a question. You think it'd be possible we could put together another budget meeting?
Sure.
Pretty short notice. I mean, so we're all on the same page and not have to do this again. I mean, just make sure that we all
Absolutely.
understand everything. Would that be possible?
Well, I'll set that as soon as possible. I think that's a good idea.
To address the magistrates, or Charlie, Keith?
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, thank you.
I will try to get that, offer a date up and a time before the end of today. How about
Okay,
that?
that'd be great.
Thank you.
Mr. Gold, your
Judge, I've got
payment.
several checks today. First is dental and life insurance, $485.34. Health insurance, $6,341. Aflac, $124.94. Interest in the amount of $11.10, $3.70, $114.73, for a total today of $7,080.81, bringing the fiscal year present total to date $139,486.60.
A motion to accept those?
So move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Treasurer Ryder? Is she with us? There she is.
You have some transfers that were included in your, should have been included in your packet. What this is recording and redistributing account codes that designate the ALC Judicial Center expenses, and this is recommendation of ALC as well as DLG, which would bring the consistency throughout the state of the same coding for these expenses.
Try to amplify that a little bit. Everybody see their sheet, obviously. The numbers on the left, the account numbers, you see, those several digit numbers, those are account codes that are fairly, they are common across the state for county budgets as directed by DLG. In some cases, the AOC recommended account code was different than Department of Local Government wanted it. And so what we're doing is making the changes that DLG suggested along with AOC to bring them into alignment between the two so we don't have any confusion with either AOC or DLG about what our numbers are. Does that make sense? What our account numbers are. We're not adding any money here. We're not subtracting any money. We're just moving money among the accounts that are now in line with what DLG and AOC, which is the Administrative Office of the Courts, I hate to use acronyms, they're initials, but that's all this is, at their direction, state direction to do this.
That's the actual only changes, as the judge said, was in the account codes, and the appropriations or revenue follows the specific account codes as they should.
Right. So we have to move money into proper account code based on their state directive. So it's a lot of numbers in here, but that's what we're doing. We're trying to get right with the state, make sure we do it the way they want to. Anybody have any questions? Motion to accept the transfers.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions about that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. I do have some claims from the general fund to Brent Jacobs in the amount of $669.72. This is for reimbursement of IT supplies and is to come from the IT services appropriation line. To Cytex in the amount of $550.48. This is for Judicial Center expenses and is to come from the Judicial Center expense appropriation line. To Real VNC in the amount of $1,000. This is the annual fee for the remote link-in access and is to come from the IT services appropriation line. From the jail fund to U.S. Bank, which is the credit card, in the amount of $3,502.59. The majority of this is to come from the office supplies, routine medical, and building repairs and maintenance appropriation lines. Also from the jail fund to Advanced Document Solutions in the amount of $778.53. This is for copier leases and is to come from the data processing equipment appropriation lines.
A motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anything else, Treasurer Wright?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, Ken, before we go to the good of the county, I think you all should have received in an email recommendation by the Planning Commission on unbridled solar. Without any objection, we will move on to the next item.
Do we need to move just to accept it?
Our lack of action is approval.
Got it.
Go around to good of the county, ask Kenny Garrett to come on up to please and maybe give us an update on how the FEMA clinic is going.
Well, as of today, we are starting week 3 of our 6-week clinic. And as of right now, we're looking at about 600 doses that have been administered both at the clinic and via the mobile sites. So that's a good number. We're actually set to actually deliver 500 a day. So when you look at the numbers that way, we could be a whole lot better off than what we are. But we're doing a whole lot of outreach every day. We're hitting businesses. It's on the radio. It's in the paper. It's everywhere, just to let folks know that this site is here. And after this week, we actually start into week 4, which will be the beginning of the second shot for those who got the first shot in week 1. So week 4, 5, and 6 will be shot number 2, but at the same time, we're going to be doing shot 1. We're going to continue shot 1 for anybody that wants it. So we're going to continue pushing that, and then what we'll end up doing is in weeks 4, 5, and 6, when they get their first shot, we'll give them a sheet of paper that will let them know where they can go get that Pfizer shot, which it has to be the Pfizer. If they get Pfizer in the first shot, they got to get Pfizer in the second shot. So we'll give them a list of where they can go to get their Pfizer shot come the second shot time. Beyond that, we're working hard. We've got FEMA, we've got the U.S. Army, we've got the National Guard. Kentucky Public Health is out there, Kentucky Emergency Management. We're the local emergency management that's sitting out there every day in the command center, and we're staying busy. So,
Kenny, what is the single best thing fiscal court might be able to do at this point to help encourage more people to get vaccinated?
I think just outreach. I mean, just talk about it. I'm not sure what the hesitation is for the general public. I was vaccinated like most of folks, around here. We were vaccinated back in December, second shot in January. So we just got to just keep pushing the word out that it's really the best way to go, so that we can get back to some kind of normality without these masks. And really the biggest thing, of course, is the keeping your hands clean and keeping that distance if you're concerned about it. So those are the 2 biggest things, I think. The masks are third.
And this week we have a site set up in the East End for vaccinations, as well as later in the week, I believe, the fire department over here in Washington and Green will be.
The JFK Center will have one. That'll be the mobile site, and then City Fire Department at Station 1 will have another mobile site this week. I think it's on Saturday.
Walk-ins welcome.
Walk-ins welcome, no appointment needed.
Yeah. Well, please keep asking your friends to get vaccinated if you can.
All right.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Mr. Farmer, any updates?
No, sir, not a thing.
Okay. Go around for good of the county, unless I'm missing anybody.
But, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Judge, members of fiscal court, you have approved this gentleman to be our next road supervisor, Mr. Glenn Cummings. Since we did it Zoom and he was not in attendance when I made a recommendation, I wanted to bring him up here today and introduce him all to you all. Some of you have already met him and have even driven around with him looking at some of our roads.
Bill, he asked me that day I was with him if we really did that. I don't think he believed that we voted on it that day. I assured him we did.
Anyway, so here he is in person, so you all know who he is, and appreciate your vote of confidence on my recommendation, and he's doing a wonderful job during his learning process, but he has a lot of support. So,
Glenn, I know you might cringe if I say this, but if you would send our court clerk your cell phone number so that we can all have it.
okay.
I know that's a Pandora's box right there, but I think it would be good for all of us. We've always had the number of the road supervisor, and it's always good for quick references or we get phone calls all the time, as you know.
And we'll send ours back to you if you need anything from us as well.
Right, exactly.
Congratulations, Glenn.
All right, thank you
Welcome
for the
aboard.
opportunity. He's also learning how to not be me, so just wanted to let you know.
That's an excellent thing. We're pleased.
I told you.
That's easy, though.
In
We
some
spent
ways.
almost 26 years trying to get him to go to charm school, and it hadn't worked.
You know what, and I'm going to disagree with Charlie, because I think you're very charming.
Thank you, sir.
What do you want, Butch?
He doesn't even have any rows. That's why he's-
Yeah.
He treats everybody the same, though.
Thanks,
so-
Glenn. Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you, Glenn. Welcome aboard. And Glenn has been with us a while. He's not new to County Road Department. It's a promotion. Okay, we'll go around for good of the county. Master at Southern.
I've talked with Glenn a few times and with Bill a lot, and I appreciate what y'all do. It's,
Real.
you keep my phone calls down to a minimum, so I appreciate it. My roads look pretty good. I was out driving yesterday, went past the grader 3 times, and he told me to get off the road. And we dodged the river, barely, but we did. So hopefully everything's gonna keep clicking along good.
Yeah, don't say that too soon. Don't say that too soon. Everything good?
Yes.
Thank you. Master at Moran.
I too would like to welcome Glenn and appreciate the road department and all they do in the Parks Department. And excited about the possible grant for Sandy Lee Watkins. That's a wonderful area, and I'm so glad to see it developed to its potential. All's well in the 2nd District.
Thank you. Master at Putman.
Thank you, Judge. Again, Glenn, we wish you the best of luck. You know, I know you'll be a good one, so we appreciate you. You too, Bill. Always appreciate you. And again, I just want to clarify that, we had a long discussion on what to do at the jail as far as wages, and it's our intention to fix that as soon as possible, and we all support Amy
Yes.
in that, so we'll get that lined out and hopefully quickly. And I was trying to think, Judge, other than that, I think all's good in the 4th. Thank you.
Thank you, Butch. Master at McCollum.
Glenn, welcome aboard. I will not harass you at all about my roads, since I don't have any. I would like to maybe suggest we have a budget committee meeting sometime before the next meeting for the
Finance Committee.
Finance Committee, yeah, if we could do that. Everything is, I guess, pretty good in the 5th District, and everybody's trying to stay healthy, and I appreciate everything everybody's doing and all the hard work everybody's done. Thank you.
Thank you. Magistrate Barry.
Yeah, I was with Glenn, 2 hours. Got more out of him than I have out of Bill in how many years? No, Bill, I'm teasing. Bill always takes care of me. He every time I've called him, he's got things done. And welcome aboard, Glenn. I know you'll do a good job. And as far as the jail goes, we got to do something, because if not, all the magistrates and the judge may be working shifts down there. And believe me, I've done that before. We don't want to do that. That is a tough job. And I see why they're having problems, but it's just nobody wants to do it. So we've got to do something.
Be a conflict with it, Steve.
I think it would.
Only if you're paid.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I was telling that. Yeah, we won't be paid, yeah. But anyway, we're going to get something done with that. I mean, all's good in the 1st, I think. It's good.
Thank you, Mr. Barry. We're thinking about you. Mr. Gold.
Thank you, Judge. Welcome, Glenn. Thoughts are with Magistrate Barry and his family with loss of a family friend. And I just wanted to say, I think the pressure cooker that is the jail is the kind of thing that is very difficult. And I think the last year that they've had out there is something that everybody that's been part of that has felt a lot of that pressure. And I just want to say how much I appreciate our jailer dealing with. It's always a budget issue, dealing with COVID for the last year, the personnel issues that come along with that. You know, something does need to be done about the pay. I work with the jailer on a regular basis and see, you know, what she's dealing with, and I know that that's a real issue out there. And money can't, you know, take away, you know, can't completely ease all the culture issues out there. You know, inmates don't always make for the nicest working environment for everybody. But it is a way to value what those folks are doing. Another way about value is, and I know this may be weird coming from a prosecutor, but you know, every inmate out there has value, and we have a constitutional duty to take care of them and make sure that they are, you know, that they are taken care of properly, both fed, medical, and hopefully there can be some sort of path toward rehabilitation, and that takes the programs that they have out there, and that that's not something that gets done on the cheap. You know, we've got to do that by you know, putting our money where our mouths are, and I would say that budgets are values documents, and that's something that I think if we can really get the jail functioning in a way that is reflective of our values and something that we can be proud of. I think we can be proud of what's out there now, but if we can help the employees there take care of those inmates and help them get on a path toward restoration and rejoining our community, that's something that is a good goal and something that we should all have as part of that process. So that's what I'll say, and just say I want to appreciate the job that our jailer does and all of our county employees. Henderson County is an incredible team, and I'm proud to be part of it.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. I concur. I want to make this really clear, really clear. We are going to help all the personnel at the jail. We are going to follow what the jailer suggests she does with their pay scales. We are going to address that. Doing it today was made more complicated by some lack of communication and information that this court needed. And inherently, doing what we were asked to do is going to be very complicated. So I think we did the simplest thing we could do today, considering it's a very complicated procedure in some cases. And we also addressed the major issue today that we were all concerned about, and that was entry-level salaries. We have every intention, and I think I can speak for the rest of the court here, we have every intention of doing the very best we can to follow the jailer's suggestions about her salaries going into the new year, which is only 6 weeks away. So I hope that the team at the jail understands this. We are not denying them pay increases. We could simply not figure out a way to get this done today, and we are going to be strongly considering those pay raises, and I fully expect that we will follow the jailer's suggestion. We just have to do it in a little bit more proper way. And again, with the fiscal court right around, the new fiscal year right around the corner, that just seems the easiest way. Again, I'm more than happy to go out and explain to the jail staff what's going to happen. And it'll be my good news to say I anticipate each of you getting some sort of increase, and some of you not insignificant increase. Do I have the amen of the rest of the fiscal court in characterizing it that way? Yeah. I just want everybody to be clear. What we did today was not deny raises to people. We try to accommodate the process in the best way we could. And the new fiscal year is only 6 weeks away, and the rest of the salary adjustments for our team at the jail, which is so good, so hardworking, are on the way. You know, just 6 weeks away. So, I think the more the merrier. The more the merrier, because I want them to get the message that we value them.
I think if you get a majority of the court, you have an open meetings issue. I don't mean to be a killjoy there, but.
Well, maybe we'll work in shifts like they do.
I've already been invited, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope we're clear on that. I want to send the message out there both through the minutes of this meeting and personal contact with employees, that we will get something done for them very soon. Want to make sure everybody is aware that community cleanups have been scheduled, our annual spring cleanups, which are very popular. They start this weekend. The schedule is online on the Recycling and Solid Waste Department's Facebook page. We are distributing it. Beth, I hope you have it. I think you, yep. We encourage people to follow the guidelines, use the spring cleanups, but follow the guidelines and be respectful, and we'll have staff out there to help make sure everybody does it correctly. And in this current situation where we're so concerned about litter, I hope that helps that problem a lot. Other than that, I am good. Nothing else. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I almost hate to say it because I've enjoyed being together, but all those in favor can leave.